Hello students, today we will continue with the discussion of structure of the larynx. So yesterday we have discussed about the cartilages of larynx. Larynx is having one larger cartilage known as thyroid cartilage, and thyroid cartilage is present anteriorly as well as laterally, and it is deficient posteriorly. Second cartilage is cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage is a ring-shaped cartilage present anteriorly as well as posteriorly. Anterior narrow part is known as arch, and posterior larger part is known as lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Third cartilage is epiglottis, which is having leaf-like appearance, placed in the anterior wall of the larynx, or make the anterior wall of the larynx. So these three cartilages are unpaired cartilages, and rest of the cartilages are paired and smaller in size. So out of the paired cartilages, first is arytenoid cartilage. In the form of a pair it is present. It is pyramidal in shape. And next is corniculate cartilage. It is smaller cartilage and placed above the arytenoid cartilage. It articulates with the apex of the arytenoid cartilage. Then cuneiform cartilage, which is rod shaped cartilage. These are also two in number, present superior to the corniculate cartilage. Both corniculate and cuneiform cartilage, these appear in the form of small tubercles in the aryepiglottic fold. So this is aryepiglottic fold of mucous membrane extending from arytenoid cartilage to the epiglottis. In this we can find these two tubercles formed by presence of two small cartilages of the larynx. So arytenoid, corniculate and cuneiform cartilages are present in the posterior aspect of the larynx. Epiglottis is present in the anterior aspect. Thyroid cartilage is present in anterior as well as lateral aspect. So in this picture, the half of the thyroid cartilage, it is cut to expose the these internal structures. Then cricoid cartilage, it is in the form of a complete ring. This narrow area is present towards the anterior aspect, and wider area, lamina, is present towards the posterior aspect. So half of it is visible and half is cut. It is surrounding the upper part of the respiratory passage completely, or larynx. It surrounds the larynx completely like a ring. Next comes two joints of the larynx. Larynx is having two joints. One is cricothyroid joint between the cricoid cartilage and the thyroid cartilage, and second is the cricoarytenoid joint. Here it is present between the cricoid cartilage and the arytenoid cartilage. So cricoarytenoid joint. First comes to cricothyroid joint. It is a joint, synovial joint, formed between the inferior cornu of the thyroid cartilage and lateral side of the cricoid cartilage. This joint allows rotatory movement of the cartilages around a transverse axis. Transverse axis passes through both the cricothyroid joints. So one cricothyroid joint on this side and another on the opposite side. Through these joints passes the transverse axis, around which the rotatory movement of these cartilages take place. Rotatory movement of these cartilages are responsible for producing contraction and relaxation of the vocal cords present behind the thyroid cartilage. So the key role of this joint is to adjust the human voice pitch by changing the tension of vocal cords. The muscles which assist the joint in controlling the tension of vocal cords are vocalis muscle, which is an endolaryngeal muscle, and cricothyroid muscle, which is present in this area, that is an extralaryngeal muscle. Cricothyroid joint is having some gliding movements also in different directions. Gliding movements at the joint are also responsible for changing the vocal fold tension. Second is cricoarytenoid joint. This joint is also a synovial joint, and it is formed between the lower border or base of the arytenoid cartilage and the upper border of the lamina of cricoid cartilage. Here the rotatory movements take place along a vertical axis. So vertical axis which passes through both the joints, these allows rotatory movements. Here it allows movement of arytenoid cartilage on the cricoid ring for vocal fold abduction and adduction. In this diagram we can see the relation between the arytenoid cartilage, cricoid cartilage and the vocal cords. So this is inferiorly placed cricoid cartilage, and at the upper border of it there is attachment of the arytenoid cartilage, and at the base of the arytenoid cartilage there is a anterior extension known as vocal process. Vocal process give attachment to the vocal cords. So when the movement take place between the arytenoid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage, that is the cricoarytenoid joint, that produces effect on the vocal cords that are attached to the base of the cricoid cartilage. So cricoarytenoid joint help in adduction or abduction of the vocal cords during speech and breathing. It also helps in the gliding movements of cartilages in different directions. Ligaments and membranes of larynx. First of all, thyroid membrane. Thyroid membrane is present between the thyroid cartilage and the hyoid bone. So this brown color structure, it is the hyoid bone. Between these two structures lies the thyroid membrane. In the median plane and towards the lateral ends, this thyroid membrane, it gets thickened to form median thyroid ligament and lateral thyroid ligament. There is presence of an aperture in the membrane as it is pierced by internal laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal vessels. So this perforation is produced by these vessels. It is present on both the sides. So here it is visible, and in the opposite side it is present in the same manner. Hyoepiglottic ligament connects the upper part of epiglottis to the hyoid bone. And in this diagram we can also see the thyroid membrane between thyroid cartilage and the hyoid bone. Cricotracheal ligament connects the lower border of cricoid cartilage to the upper end of the trachea. This is cricotracheal ligament. So median and lateral thyroid ligaments, cricotracheal ligament and hyoepiglottic ligament, these are the extrinsic ligaments of larynx. Extrinsic ligaments connect the larynx to other structures like hyoid bone and trachea. Next comes to intrinsic ligaments. Intrinsic ligaments are the ligaments which connect the individual cartilages of the larynx together. So before discussing about the intrinsic ligaments of the larynx, let us have an overview of the wall of the larynx. So in this diagram we can see the cut section across the larynx. The innermost lining of the laryngeal wall, it is made by mucous membrane, which is of different variety, maybe stratified squamous type of epithelium and ciliated columnar type of epithelium. Outside the mucous membrane there is presence of a broad sheet of fibroelastic tissue, which is known as fibroelastic membrane of the larynx. So intrinsic ligaments are part of this fibroelastic membrane. This fibroelastic membrane replaces the submucosa of the larynx, and outside the fibroelastic membrane there is presence of cartilages of the larynx, and these different cartilages are connected to one another with the help of the intrinsic ligaments, and extrinsic ligaments connects the larynx or different cartilages of larynx to other structures like hyoid bone and the trachea. Let us come to the intrinsic ligaments of the larynx. Intrinsic ligaments are in the form of a broad sheet of fibroelastic tissue known as fibroelastic membrane of the larynx. So this green color structure is known as fibroelastic membrane. This membrane is present outside the mucosa, so it also replaces the submucosa of the larynx. It is interrupted on each side by the sinus of the larynx. So this hollow space present between these two folds is known as sinus of larynx or sinus of Morgagni. The part of the membrane which is present above this upper fold is known as quadrate membrane, and the part present below the lower fold is known as conus elasticus. Mucous membrane of the larynx, which lies inner to this fibroelastic membrane, it is thrown into two folds which are present on both the sides, left side and right side. Fold which is present above is known as vestibular fold, and the fold present below is known as vocal fold. So folds are present on left side also and right side also of the larynx, and the space between these two folds is known as sinus of larynx or ventricle of the larynx. So both sides is having ventricle. This diagram shows the sinus or ventricle and folds of one half of the larynx. So vestibular fold, the fibroelastic membrane present above the vestibular fold is known as quadrate membrane, and the fibroelastic membrane present below the vocal fold is known as conus elasticus. Quadrate membrane extends from arytenoid cartilage to the epiglottis. Its inferior border forms the vestibular fold and the upper border forms the aryepiglottic fold. So the one fold is visible here, that is known as the aryepiglottic fold, extending from epiglottis to the arytenoid cartilage. Conus elasticus extends upwards and medially from the arch of the cricoid cartilage. Its anterior part here forms the cricothyroid ligament, that is median cricothyroid ligament, and the lateral part is known as conus elasticus itself, and its upper border of it forms the vocal fold. Cavity of larynx. Cavity of larynx extends from inlet of larynx. This is inlet of larynx area. From here it extends up to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. So this is thyroid cartilage in front, and below that lies the cricoid cartilage, and posterior part of cricoid cartilage is larger and visible like this. So inferior border of cricoid cartilage, this is lower limit of cavity of the larynx. inlet of larynx, it is obliquely placed. This is oblique area. It is facing upwards and backwards, and it is continues posteriorly with the, or it opens into the laryngopharynx. So this is the area of the pharynx. This is known as laryngopharynx, which lies at the level of the larynx or inlet of the larynx, and below that esophagus begin. So this is the area from where esophagus begins. So this is the sagittal section across the larynx area, and here we can see the right half of the larynx. So here this is cavity of larynx. It is cavity of larynx, and this is the inlet of larynx. Inlet is bounded anteriorly by the epiglottis. So in this diagram, this is the inlet of larynx area, bounded anteriorly by the epiglottis. Posteriorly, it is bounded by a fold of mucous membrane connecting the two arytenoid cartilages. So arytenoid cartilage is present at the upper border of the cricoid cartilage. From one arytenoid cartilage, there is an extension of fold of the mucous membrane towards the other arytenoid cartilage. So inlet of larynx, this area, bounded posteriorly by a fold of mucous membrane present between two arytenoid cartilages. And on each side, left side and right side, it is bounded by this structure, that is, this is aryepiglottic muscle which is visible, and along this muscle there is also presence of a fold of mucous membrane known as aryepiglottic fold, extending from epiglottis to the arytenoid cartilage. Internal diameter of this larynx area, it is about 3 millimeters at the time of 3 years of age, and it increases by 1 mm every year, and it reaches about 12 millimeter at the age of 12 years, and it remain almost 12 to 13 millimeters throughout the adult life. Cavity of the larynx, it is lined by mucous membrane. So this brown color lining is mucous membrane of the cavity of the larynx. Mucous membrane form two folds within the cavity. So here we can see the two folds of right side, and in the same manner the left half of the larynx which is cut, that is also having same two folds. Upper fold is known as vestibular fold, and lower fold is known as vocal fold, and the gap present between these two folds is known as ventricle or sinus of the larynx. In the transverse section across the larynx, these two folds are visible in this manner. This white color fold is known as, it is the vocal fold, and on the lateral aspect of this vocal fold there is presence of vestibular fold. Vocal fold or vocal cord, these are known as true vocal cords because these are the structures concerned with production of voice. Vestibular fold, these are also known as false vocal cord because these are not concerned with the process of voice production. The space present between the vocal fold of left side and right side, so between these two somewhat whitish structures, the space that is present, that is known as rhima glottidis, and the space present between two vestibular folds, these brown color structures, the space that is present between these two structures is known as rhima vestibuli. This diagram is also helpful in explaining these folds. So this is the diagram in which larynx is cut from posterior aspect and it is spread out to view the internal structures. So these are this is left side, right side, this is left side of the larynx. So in this we can see two folds. folds of both the sides are visible. Superior fold is known as vestibular fold. Inferior fold is known as vocal fold. And the gap between these two folds is known as ventricle or sinus of the larynx. It is also known as sinus of Morgagni. This is the diagrammatic representation of the cavity of the larynx. Here we can find out this is vestibular fold and these are the vocal folds. Vestibular folds are superiorly present and vocal folds are present at a lower level than vestibular fold. And this is the ventricle or sinus of the larynx. Space present between two vestibular folds is known as rima vestibuli, this area rima vestibuli, and the gap present or space present between two vocal folds is known as rima glottidis. So this is rima glottidis portion. Vocal fold is attached anteriorly to the posterior aspect of thyroid cartilage in the area that is the meeting point of two laminae posteriorly, and posterior attachment of the vocal fold is on the anterior process or vocal process of the arytenoid cartilage. So here in this diagram also we can come to see the attachment of the vocal cords. These are vocal cords and attached posteriorly to the vocal process of arytenoid cartilage. Vocal process is present towards the base of the arytenoid cartilage, which is visible here also, vocal process. And anterior attachment is on the thyroid cartilage. This is thyroid cartilage. And this is posterior aspect of thyroid cartilage at the meeting point of two laminae of the thyroid cartilage. Rima glottidis is present between the two vocal cords anteriorly in this area, but it also extends backwards between the vocal processes of two arytenoid cartilages. Rima glottidis is limited posteriorly by an interarytenoid fold of mucous membrane. Means mucous membrane is also covering these processes of the arytenoid cartilage. That is the fold of mucous membrane present between these two processes. So anterior larger part of the rima glottidis, that is about 3/5 part, it is intermembranous part because it is limited on both the sides by the mucous membrane, and posterior 2/5 part is intercartilaginous part. This smaller part is intercartilaginous part because it is present between the two processes of the arytenoid cartilage, and these are made of cartilaginous structure. So this is intercartilaginous posterior 2/5 part of the rima. Rima glottidis is the narrowest part of the cavity of larynx. Its length, antero-posterior distance or length, is about 23 millimeters in case of male and about 17 millimeters in case of female. Means it is smaller in length in case of females and longer in males. Vestibular fold and vocal fold divides the cavity of the larynx into three parts. The part of the cavity which lies above the vestibular fold is known as supraglottis, up to the upper margin of the hyoid bone. Then the part of the cavity between vestibular fold and vocal fold is known as ventricle or sinus of the larynx, and the part of cavity below the vocal fold is known as infraglottis. It extends downwards up to the inferior border of the cricoid cartilage. Whereas the term glottis is used for rima glottidis, that is the area present between the two vocal folds, and along with rima glottidis, when vocal folds are also involved, the complete structure is known as glottis. ventricle, sinus of larynx or sinus of Morgagni. It is a fusiform cleft which is present between the vestibular fold and the vocal fold. Anterior part of the sinus, it is prolonged upwards in the form of a diverticulum between the vestibular fold and the lamina of the thyroid cartilage. This extension is known as saccule of larynx. Saccule contain mucus glands which lubricate the vocal folds. So this saccule is also known as oil can of larynx. In the coronal section across the larynx, we see different parts of the larynx and also the position of vestibular fold and the vocal fold. So the part of the cavity of the larynx here, from epiglottis to the vestibular fold, this is vestibular fold, upper fold. This part is supraglottis or vestibule. It is also known as vestibule. And this is vocal fold. From vocal fold to the inferior border of cricoid cartilage, this is infraglottis. And the gap between these two folds, vestibular and vocal fold, is known as sinus. The coronal section is seen from the posterior aspect, and this is the right wall of larynx, this is left wall of larynx. Here we can find out from posterior to anterior side these folds extends. Vocal folds are extending from back to front, and then vestibular fold from back to front. In the same manner, in this right side also, these two folds are extending from posterior to anterior side. So vocal folds, these adduct during phonation. The gap between these two folds, it obliterate, and these adduct during speech, and these abduct or go away from each other during respiration. Mucous membrane of larynx, anterior surface of epiglottis. So in this diagram we here see the posterior aspect of the epiglottis, and other side lies the anterior surface of epiglottis. So whole of the anterior surface, upper part of posterior surface, upper part of aryepiglottic fold which extends from epiglottis to the arytenoid cartilage, and vocal fold. These structures are lined by stratified squamous type of epithelium, and rest of the parts are lined by ciliated columnar type of epithelium. Mucous membrane is loosely attached over the to the cartilages of the larynx, except over the vocal ligaments, and over the posterior surface of epiglottis, where it is thin and it is firmly adherent, and to rest of the cartilages it is loosely attached. Mucous glands are absent over the vocal cords. Vocal cords or vocal folds are deficient in mucous glands, but these are plenty in number on the anterior surface of the epiglottis, around cuneiform cartilage present in this area, and in the vestibular fold. And in rest of the parts these glands are scattered.